What's up, guys? So me and old Robs are up here in Ohio. We took a weekend trip up here to come up here and do some scouting and see if we can find some sheds. So far we've put in like 23.4 miles or something like that, and no sheds. But what we have found is a lot of good sign and a lot of info that's going to help me come November. So anyway, while we're up here, I figured I'd bring y'all a video that a lot of guys have asked for in the past, and that is, what is my truck camping setup? I know if you've seen any of my videos in the past, there's a couple of them I think that have my truck in them, but I'm driving an 01 F-250. It's a long bed, and my camper shell is like 6 or 8 inch rise to it. Hopefully you can see that right there. Sorry if you can't see it, it's dark, but it's not the flush camper shell. It's the one that has like the 6 or 8 inch rise in it, which helps a lot. So this is my solo truck camping setup. The only thing really that changes is a little bit of odds and ends here and there when my wife comes, but for the most part this is how I use it. So let me and old Robs jump up here in the truck, and we'll show you what all's in there. So if you're like me and you're vertically challenged, a cooler and a truck hauler makes a big difference when you got a lifted truck. What's up, guys? So this is my solo truck camping setup. Like I said, really the only thing that changes in here is when my wife comes, we take the cot out and put a full-size air mattress in here, so the layout kind of changes a bit. So to start out, what I got in the floor is some old carpet that I've got cut to fit the floor of the truck. And then underneath of that, I've got some quilted type insulation stuff that doesn't mold if it gets wet. And I've got that all cut to where it matches the outline of the truck bed. So it keeps your feet warm, and you can vacuum it out, you know, whatever, in between trips. Keep it clean. So like I said about the camper shell, it's just a used camper shell that I got for like 400 bucks. It's the raised top. It's got like 6 or 8 inches raised above the cab of my truck, which I really like. I like the way a normal flush mount camper shell looks better, but for functionality this thing is awesome. It's super nice having that extra headroom. With that being said, the lighting I've got in here are some 4-foot LED strip lights that I bought off of Amazon. They're super cheap, and I've got those hardwired through the top of the cab and into the corner there. And there's actually I've got them wired up on quick disconnects, where when I want to take the cap off, I can take it off and leave the wiring right there covered up, and it's good to go. That wiring is hardwired through the frame of the truck up to the battery, and I did that myself as well. So super simple. I've got a switch there in the corner where I can turn them on and off, and I can run these lights forever. I mean, all night long, and it doesn't even drain the battery at all in my truck. So that's super nice. When I'm going on like 4, 5, 6 day trips, if I'm not going to be driving in between turning these on, I'll try to keep it to a minimum just in case. But so far I've been on a 3-day trip and not driven, and had 0 issues with the drain on the battery. So that's what I run for lights. As far as power goes, for charging, running my computer, that type of stuff, running a heater, here in Ohio, I'm actually at a campground, so I've got power. So I've just got 2 drop cords ran in through the corner of the bed of the truck right there. I actually run it up through the little gap at the bottom of the tailgate. So I've got those run to the power pole outside. If I don't have that option, I'm actually just running these little battery packs, and then I've got a truck jump starter that I can plug my computer in if I'm going to do that, something like that, where I don't have power for several days. So that's that for charging. Like I said, tonight I've got a drop cord down here for my phone and computer and stuff like that. But so as far as with heat, tonight I'm just running a small heater off of a drop cord. When I don't have power, I'll use a Mr. Buddy heater, and I'll bring however many cans of propane that I need for however many days I'm out. One thing I will say with the Mr. Buddy heater, it does say that it's safe to use in confined spaces where you don't have good ventilation. I went the next step over and went ahead and got a carbon monoxide detector just in case. So that's just a quick tip, just to be on the safe side. I have tested the Mr. Buddy heater and it does shut off when it says it should. It actually shut off before the carbon monoxide detector went off. So it is safe, but when it comes to something like that, it's always good just to be on the side of caution. So that's what I've done there. So that's it as far as heat. This camper shell holds in heat pretty well. I mean, it's not going to be, it's not insulated, so it's not going to be great, but it's enough to keep you warm. So another thing that I've got in here is a little cheap old plastic shelving system. You can put whatever you want on it. Right now I've got my food and stuff that I'm going to cook for tonight, just so it's easy to get to. All that stuff right there, all the stuff that's on that little cabinet right there was in that tote bin there in the corner. I'm just using the tote bin on this trip to hold the heater. I used that little plastic shelving system last night and the heat was just too close to my face. I was hot all night. So that plastic tote bin will actually fit underneath my cot. So the way I have this set up, I have a lot of options. I can move stuff around however I need to. So that's kind of what I try. I kind of try to keep this thing mobile and movable because I like to move my stuff around, and sometimes depending on where I'm at, depends on what I've got. So in the wintertime, as far as tote bins go, I'll bring several of that size tote bin there, and then I'll also bring some of the skinny ones. Just so I can split my gear up as far as outer layers, thermals, that type of stuff. And I'll keep them in those tote bins so they don't get scent and stuff like that on them. So all that stuff, I can slide 2 of those tote bins and a bag with my regular clothes underneath my cot. Or I can slide 2 of those tote bins, leave my regular clothes in the truck, and I can put all my electronics and gear into 2 smaller tote bins underneath my cot. So that's what I use my cot for, is storage underneath. That way it's kind of like space that I'm using for two things. I can run storage under it and I also sleep on it. So talking about cot, let me show you the cot I've got. I'm just running a cheap Academy Special cot. And then I've got a 3-inch memory foam pad on top of it that I got off of Amazon pretty cheap. And that makes a big difference. It does make it really comfortable to lay on. And then I just put a set of sheets on it, and I got a wool blanket, and then my a thin blanket, pillow, and this is a 20-degree sleeping bag. You can use whatever you want. 20 degrees is great for me. Like last night, it wasn't cold enough to stay in the bag, so I just unzipped it, opened it up, good to go. But it's better to have more than you need than to be cold, so keep that in mind. One key thing that I'll talk about real quick while I'm thinking about it: if you're going to be staying in the back of the truck, bring a level. It doesn't have to be a big one, and it doesn't have to be exact. But I will say this: if you ever spend a night where your head is under or lower than your feet, you'll thank me for bringing this. I just take this thing and put it on here like that, and as you can see, it's out of level, but it's out of level where my head is higher than my feet. So it's not out of level by much right in there. So you can see I got just a little bit of a angle to it, and that's what I want. I don't leave it level, and I definitely don't want my head below my feet. You'll be miserable, trust me from experience. It sucks. So I always bring that. And like I said, you know, I like to try to keep this kind of simple. At the end of the mattress here, at the end of the cot here, I've got my boots on a floor mat, and then I've got Robbie's dog food, water, and some extra water down here. And that's pretty much it. For cooking, I'll use my little Primus pot. It's just my little backpacking stove. I've already got it, might as well use it. So I use that, and then I store all my food in tote bins. Whatever doesn't fit in my truck, I will put in tote bins underneath the truck, especially when I'm hunting. It's nice to have this floor space kind of open. So I try to keep as much stuff as I can underneath the truck. It stays dry. It keeps the scent off of some of my other stuff that I can't fit in tote bins. And that's what I use for storage. As far as this chair, I don't know if you've noticed it so far. I hadn't really talked about it, but I use this chair for two different things. So I open it up right here, and boom, I got me a table to cook on. Once I get done cooking everything, I'll sit in my chair and I'll edit videos. It's another one of those things that you always want to try to get two uses out of each piece of your gear. Well, it's no different with this little chair. So, two uses. It's light. It doesn't take up much room. I can just slide it in here behind my shelving system, and I'm good to go. So another thing about power I completely forgot about. So what I did, another thing that for charging when I don't have a power hookup outside, is I've actually got a DC plug-in. I've got it wired in through under the carpet in my truck. It comes out through the bed of my truck, and then that plugs into my little power converter, which has wall outlets, 110 wall outlets. So I've also got that little system rigged up. You know, you can do a whole lot of different things with power. That's just kind of some of the simple things that I've got for nights where I don't have a power hookup. So that's pretty much it for my camper setup. This does everything I need it to do for me. And old Rob's down here. He's down here in his bed, snuggling his antler. He's beat. We done put in a lot of miles. I think we put in like 12.8 or something like that today, and 11.4 yesterday, whatever that winds up being. But we put in a lot of miles. Unfortunately, we didn't find any sheds, but we've had a great time. Old Rob's got some exercise. He's getting old. His hips are starting to hurt him. So glad I was able to bring him up here. He had a good time, and so did I. So anyway, that's my solo truck camping setup. Hopefully you guys got something out of it. If there's any questions, don't hesitate to comment or contact me on my social media, and I'll be more than happy to answer any of the questions that you have. So appreciate you watching, guys. Remember to live your life to the fullest and use your passions to bless others. We'll catch you on the next one.